Welcome back to Making the Case. Tonight, we're looking at new efforts by police departments across the country to reduce their use of deadly force. The Marshall Project found that in Marietta, Georgia, officers are now being trained in the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The department made the move after 4 officers were captured on video shoving a black man against the wall at an IHOP before tasing and punching him. That man, Renardo Lewis, is now suing the city. Joining me now is a staff writer for the Marshall Project and the author of that article, Jamiles Lartey. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Jamiles, you spoke to a female officer involved in that arrest that was caught on video, and she's embracing this new training. But before we get to her reasons, can you explain what jiu-jitsu is exactly and how it's less lethal?
Absolutely, yeah. So jiu-jitsu is a grappling martial art that teaches how to use body mechanics, leverage, and pain compliance to control another person on the ground. As its proponents and fans love to tell you, jiu-jitsu translates from Japanese for the gentle art. You'll commonly hear it referred to as Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and the short version of that story is that a Japanese teacher came to Brazil in the 1910s, and a group of his students, 5 brothers, adopted the form and turned it into what we know as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today.
I see. Okay, now to that female officer who was caught on that video and was involved in some way in that arrest. What are her reasons for supporting this training?
Yeah, when I spoke to her, basically what she described is after that arrest, about a week later, she had a call where she was going to a situation where things might become physical again, and she essentially found herself getting nervous and scared. And that sort of coincided with the department starting to embrace jiu-jitsu as a training protocol for officers there. And so, her experience was that this training improved her confidence, that in a physical arrest, she would be more able to control an arrestee. Control is probably the word that came up the most in the reporting of this story.
So how many hours of training do the officers need before they are allowed to even use this sort of technique on citizens?
Yeah, so they're required to go to the training. Well, the department is requiring that all of their new recruits train in jiu-jitsu before going on duty, on patrol, and they're required to do it for a minimum of twice a week for 6 months.
Okay,
but most officers continue to train.
Okay. Why is there there's a belief among police departments that this is a better way of making arrests? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so the argument in favor of jiu-jitsu training for officers is basically that there are chemical reactions that happen in the human body when presented with physical stress, conflict, and threat. And it takes a lot of practice and discipline to be able to manage that. So the kind of training that happens in the police academy is, for the most part, brief and a little bit contrived, right? They have a couple days of this, couple days of that. It's certainly not repetitive enough to build strong muscle memory or emotional resilience. So police administrators and officers themselves will openly concede, like the officer that we were talking about earlier. She had never been in a fight before she became a police officer, and that's true of many officers. And left to their own instincts and knowledge in a physical conflict, most people will be, as the major, one of the police majors in that department, Major King, told me, their response is usually either very incompetent or very violent. And that's evident in any number of body camera and bystander videos out there of panicked officers screaming and, cursing, going for their taser, their pepper spray, their baton, or their gun, or going for brute kicks and punches, and usually pretty ineffective ones. So I think the idea behind jiu-jitsu for police is twofold. One is that, in general, this training is repetitive exposure to physical confrontation that will just overall ratchet down the panic response in officers when arrests become physical. The second is the knowledge of the ground maneuvers in jiu-jitsu that will potentially allow officers to control someone they're arresting without turning to intermediate weapons like tasers, pepper spray, beanbag rounds, and things like that.
Okay, well, speaking of those weapons, so does this mean that if they've gotten the training for jiu-jitsu that they aren't going to be armed with any of those weapons?
Yep, they're still, normal patrol officers. They don't have sort of special jiu-jitsu officers who carry less weapons. One of the things that people are curious and in many cases concerned about on this is the question of weapon retention, right? Jiu-jitsu is a grappling art, and if you're grappling with someone, potentially they can get to something on your tool belt. So jiu-jitsu instructors who teach police officers specifically instruct techniques for what they call weapon retention. Basically, that's their number one priority if they are engaged in a rolling with a suspect, with someone who's being arrested, is that they have to make sure that they don't get to anything on their belt.
Well, you spoke to officers and civil rights advocates who aren't supportive of this approach. What was the main concern they had? And I'm really interested to know what the officers' concerns were.
Yeah, I mean, the critiques that I heard were really more focused systemically and less on the individual outcomes of any one arrest. So, I don't think there was a critic who I spoke to who didn't concede that a calm, patient officer who isn't panicked because they're comfortable in a physical interaction isn't better than a panicked one who's reacting violently because they don't know what else to do. But I think rather the concern was that the broad problems in policing are about overall attitudes that some officers bring to the job, and about the type of incidents that police are called to respond to, right? Just this general idea that we can arrest our way out of crime and social problems. In other words, if all you do is make arrests slightly less dangerous, that's not meeting the immensity of this moment or this issue, which is that policing in America is synonymous with the keeping of a racialized social order, and that is either not reformable, or if it is, it requires wholesale reimagining of the police, who they are and how they operate, not just more competence or hand-to-hand combat skills. I think there's also a critique which notes that the gym is a confined environment and an arrest is not, or a controlled environment, I should say. So generally
Correct.
in a dojo or even in an MMA fight, there's some level of respect between combatants. There are referees and coaches there, and so what happens if an officer is using these techniques without that respect, potentially without coaches, referees, or even mats to land on?
Very good point. I was thinking the same thing. Well, Marietta Police Department, the police department told you that they hear from about 15 departments each week looking to start this training of jiu-jitsu for their officers. Do you see this catching on in departments across the country?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would say it already is catching on. Henner Gracie, who teaches cops jiu-jitsu at his Gracie Survival Tactics program, says that the interest in his program has doubled since the murder of George Floyd. In Michigan, one lawmaker proposed a bill to make jiu-jitsu training mandatory for all incoming officers in the state. So as departments and cities look for ways to reform policing in the wake of last year's protests and the political pressure that came out of it, I would expect it to continue to be a popular effort in that conversation, if for no other reason than because it is, in many ways, in many respects, a status quo response, right? It's more training. It's not examining or ripping up the fundamentals of law enforcement or policing.
All right, staff writer for the Marshall Project, Jamiles Lartey, thank you so very much for your time tonight and your work.